Well, good morning, and yeah, welcome to what will be a unusual for me, a carp vlog. You know, if you watch my vlogs, I don't do many carp vlogs nowadays. Just don't get enough views to make them worth the while. But hopefully this will do. So it's 1st of November, and I'm sat at a lake called Totham Pit. Maldon Angling Society's water. I joined the club in February, thinking I'd give this lake a good go this year, and yeah, for one reason or another I've not fished it at all, so I've decided I'm going to make it a winter campaign, and that's what this video will be. I'm over here today, I'm in my third swim already, got here at 6 o'clock this morning. There was one guy who had done the night last night, he lost a fish. But he'd been here since Friday, I think he said. So yeah, he lost the fish and he's going home today. I just had a walk around, and I actually walked around at the weekend, and everyone was blanking. But I did find in a little swim down in the corner there was definitely a feeding fish there. So in my head I would be heading that way round the lake looking for fish. And I walked around. It's 8 acres, so it doesn't take long to walk around. So a couple of buckets with me, walked around, and I ended up stopping in a swim. It's about 3 or 3 down? 2 down from me, maybe. And because a fish showed, so I quickly got my stuff, dropped in there. Didn't set up the umbrella and bed chair and all that stuff, just got the rods out in the general area of where I'd seen the fish. And then whilst there, I'd been there about an hour, and a fish crashed up over there. About half an hour later it crashed again, so I thought, do you know what, time to move already. So I moved along, and I was one swim further along from where I am now. I think it's called Reeds 1. And it's a tiny little day swim, but that was the swim that controlled the water where the fish showed. So put the rods out into that area, and yeah, the heavens opened basically, and you can't even fit an umbrella in there. It's definitely a day swim. So I decided to come down one more swim. So I'm in a swim called Reeds 2. And yeah, I'm on, well, there's a little placard, you see it when you come in. A lot of the swims have maximum distance you're allowed to cast to, or certainly these swims with reeds and lily pads and things. So it's yeah, 7.5 wraps, 30 yards in here. And so I just put a solid PVA bag on one rod, put pop up on the other, and what did I put on the other? Wafter on the other. So 3 rods just on the reed line, and I left them out there till about 11 o'clock, I think it was. Nothing happened. So I've wound them in. Then actually just had a couple little casts with a marker float, and I found a little, it was probably a feeding hole on those reeds. One's just moved, so hopefully that's a carp going to come along and take my bait. So I'm fishing in a little dip. It's the 7.5 wraps, like I guess probably everybody fishes 7.5 wraps because that's what you're allowed, and that's the human nature of carp fishing. Let's go as far as we can, if not a bit further. But anyway, so I found 2 clear spots just off those reeds at 7.5 wraps, and I've got one rod on Icelandic red. The water actually has cooled down a lot recently. I think it's still warm enough to use the Icelandic red. I love using fish meals, but also I'm a bit old school and I come off of them in the winter, and we'll change over to a birdseed based or milk based bait. So I've got one bait out on Icelandic red and just a little bit of particle around it and 20 boilies. Then literally probably 2 rods to the right of that, I've got a little creamy, God, I can't remember what they're called now, the Carp Company creamy milk, I think they're called creamy milk boilies. It's not a boilie you can buy off the shelf if you like, it's a base mix that Carp Company sell. That said, if you phone them up and ask them to roll it for you, they will do. So yeah, so that predominantly will be my winter bait. And then my right hand rod is just, it's only halfway out, there's a weed bed, and I bet no one fishes halfway out on this lake. So yeah, 4 wraps out just by a big weed bed. That's got some chopped creamy milk around it and some ground bait with various additives in it, some 4mm, 2mm and 6mm pellets in there as well. And as I say, that will predominantly be my winter bait. Mostly ground bait really. I don't want to be putting a lot of food out in the winter, but it will be, when I do put boilies out, it will be those creamy milk boilies. It's just something that I like to use in the winter. They're flavoured with a bit of plum flavour for me. And yeah, hopefully as the winter goes on, I can catch some fish. I'm going to try not chat too much. But yeah, that's the plan for now. This is going to be my winter lake. I'll try and do 2 nights every other week if I can. As I say, I've got 2 nights ahead of me now. It's still very mild for November, but there has been, I'm sure a lot of people who watch this will remember, there's been loads and loads of rain the past couple of weeks, and certainly water temperatures are coming down. So we'll see what happens. I'll either update it with a fish later on, or I'll update it when I'm packing up in a couple of days' time, and just a little update. But yeah, speak to you then. That one, 14.10, first fish from Totham Pit. Okay, just a quick update on where we are then. So you would have seen just before this, I would have slipped in a little common I had just before dark last night, £14.10. So yeah, not one of the big boys that I was hoping for, but at least we're off the mark. First trip, we're off the mark. In the night, oh, that was on the Icelandic red snowman. So yeah, as I said, I think I said yesterday, I'm happy to use fish meals. Probably, well, until the water gets a bit cooler, maybe another 4 weeks. And then what else has happened? I picked that up on, basically I'm fishing, I think I said yesterday, I'm fishing to the reed line with 2 rods, and that was on one of those rods. I'm surprised I didn't have more fish. Those reeds were knocking and bashing all day long, and I was wondering why I haven't had a take. But yeah, at least I finally got one. The rod's locked up, so it did initially get a little way into the reeds, but managed to get that one out. So good start to the campaign. And then in the night, well, it turned really chilly last night by, I think it's about 7:30, 8 o'clock. I thought, oh, I might have to get under the cover, because obviously I haven't bought the bivvy, just got the umbrella, and it turned a bit cold. But then the rats came out, and yeah, my God, there was a lot of rats down here. And if you've watched other vlogs, I don't like rats, so there's no way I was going to sleep. They were getting quite close to me until the rats dispersed, and that was about just after 10 o'clock. Basically, I sat there listening to a book on Audible, and yeah, the rats were up and down, backwards and forwards for a good couple of hours. But then by 10 o'clock they disappeared, so got in my pit or in my bed. And then 11 o'clock I had a run on the rod, that's where I'm using the creamy baits. And yeah, that, I don't know if it weeded me up or snagged me up. As I said, I don't know the lake yet. But the fish was on and I was just holding tight so it couldn't go anywhere. And I could feel the fish kicking, and then that was it, hook pulled. So yeah, I don't often get hook pulls, but it is what it is. So I put that rod back out, and then yeah, since then I had 2 tench on there through the night. So not a lot of sleep in the night, but hopefully we'll get some more carp today. The reeds have started moving about again. The fish were crashing a lot down, it sounded down that way, but every time I looked I couldn't see exactly where. So I know there's a guy down there fishing in one of the swims and he's packing up today. So when he comes past, I might ask him where the fish were. Well, he may well have had a few, because they were definitely somewhere down there. And it may be that I move swims again. Won't be bad, 48 hours, 4 swims, but yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, as I said, let's wrap this up, try and keep these vlogs short. Yeah, hopefully update this later today with some more fish. Well, good morning, and yeah, welcome back. Just going to wrap this vlog up. It's only 7 o'clock, but due for 3 hours of rain now, and I want to be packed up by 10, so I'll wrap the vlog up whilst it's still dry. Yeah, an interesting 54 hours, or it will be by the time I get off. Like I say, I've got 3 more hours and the rods are still out. But yeah, yesterday, totally different from the day before, where loads of fish have been showing and giving themselves away. Nothing showed all day yesterday. So I persevered on 2 of the spots and moved 1 of the spot. And then basically the spot that had produced the tench, I moved that rod a bit further along on the reed line, still just 7.5 wraps out that you're allowed to do. And I put a lot of ground bait out there. It's I spotted it out so as it could get it out there. I haven't got, if I'd had my river catapult with me, I could have just catapulted it out. But yeah, I put it out with a spot anyway. And yeah, that mix just, I didn't say earlier what that mix was. I just touched on it, but basically it's 60% breadcrumb, 40% crushed up creamy milk boilies, some milk powder in there, tin of carnation diluted down, yeah, 4mm, 6mm and 2mm pellets in there, all mixed up. And yeah, that's what it is. It's what is good, because that water content is mixed with that carnation. For some reason, you can still make a PVA stick up with that. So, you know, that is something I do. I think I did one solid PVA bag even with it in, and that was one of the tench. So I moved that spot off, as I said, back onto the reed line, and yeah, nothing happened. As I said, nothing was really showing. And then at 4 o'clock, the same rod that had the 14 pounder the day before went, and that was a 17.7 common. So I quickly weighed it. I think I said at the beginning, I've forgotten to bring my camera for this trip. When I spoke to the wife, she said, "You do know your camera's on the table in the kitchen, don't you?" And I didn't. But yeah, so I don't know what the shots will be like, because I've just set up the GoPro and videoed clips basically of the fish. So I put that one back, got the rod back on the spot, and as it went on the spot, it was getting dark, and I thought it had just clipped. There's some reeds sticking out further than the rest, and I thought it may have just clipped the edge of that as it went in, and within 1 minute I'd had a couple of bleeps on it but no take. So I wound it in and there was nothing on it. It hadn't hit the reeds. Put it back on the spot and put out 20 boilies around that one, and that's all I've been doing on that spot, trickling boilies out. And bloody hell, carp's just rolled in my margin. Not that you can fish the margin because the swans wipe you out, but yeah, I've digressed. So yeah, put that out, and 5 minutes, up it went again. Obviously it's locked up, the fish is screaming across the top of the water. Let's drop the lead, played that in, got that in, and yeah, I thought, oh, this is a better one. This is a 20, and weighed him up, 25.10 common. So quickly put him in the edge. Thought, right, let's get the camera and everything out again, because I'd packed it away thinking that was it for the day. And put the camera back up where I've been doing the filming. Came back down, just about to lift the fish out. The rod that I'd put on the new spot around all the ground bait and in the solid PVA bag, that was away. And that was a, I think it was a 14.9 mirror. The funny thing with that, I wasn't even going to weigh it. I just looked in the net. I thought, oh, £10. I was going to put it back, but as I'm doing the vlog, I thought, let's do it properly, get weights and everything. Yeah, and I was underestimating by quite a bit. So £14.9, I think that was, or 14.7 maybe. One of those. The ounces are irrelevant, really. So yeah, got the rods back out on the spot, and same rod. The solid PVA bag went again just past midnight, so the following day, if you like, today. Yeah, just past midnight, the solid bag was away again, and that was a 21.7 mirror. So yeah, 4 fish between 4 p.m. last night and just into the, well, it's just gone midnight, so in 8 hours, 4 fish, when nothing had happened all day. And I think the pattern, I would say, that for this swim at the moment, I've learned, is definitely there's a little channel that the fish come out, and that's a rod that's had 3 of the 5 fish. And it seems to be in the daytime there at the back of the reeds, because the reeds are moving, and I think they're coming out of, you know, sort of between 4 and 5 is when they're coming out, and that's the feeding spell. Because the previous day it was 4:45, I had that take, and then apart from the one at midnight, they've all been around that time. So I think that's what they're doing. Where they go once they come out of there, I don't know, because there's no crashing behind the reeds or anything. So yeah, I've watched other people fish where they're putting their lines. I've not seen anyone have a fish. And like I say, I sat up till 10:30, and then again I was up at midnight, and then up at 6 o'clock this morning. So I've not heard anyone else and not seen any lights. Amazingly, a guy did turn up at about 6:30 last night, wheeling down with his headlight on and trolley to set up. And he was gone again at 6:30 this morning. I mean, that's dedication in November. And the stamper fishing here, actually, they're probably not what I thought they'd be. I've spoken to 2 people who have fished here for a long time. One said there's 4:30s, the other said there's 3:30s. So, yeah, I'm not sure I could do overnighters and go to work in the morning for that stamper fish anyway, but that's me personally. So that's it, I'm going to wrap this up. I've waffled for like 7 minutes. Hopefully, as I've been talking, I've been putting in the pictures of the fish, so it takes away from you looking at my ugly face as well as listening to my boring voice. But yeah, I'll be back, and I don't know when. Like I say, this is going to be my winter campaign, so maybe a day session. It may be piking one day. I'm definitely going to bring the pike rods over. There's meant to be good pike in here, but I guess predominantly it will be carp fishing. So that's it for now, I think. So hopefully I'll get packed away without getting too wet, and see you back here in the near future. Thanks for watching. Okay, welcome back. So back on the pit again. It's mid-November now, so I've got 2 nights, not 48 hours. I've got 2 nights. So there's one other guy on at the moment. He's up in the one up from the reeds, one up from where I fished last time, and he'd had a couple of fish. He said, I've taking a hunch. Everything's a hunch because I don't know the lake, as I'll keep saying, but I will learn it as the winter goes on. I've dropped down. I'm in a point swim, which by all accounts is a good swim most times of the year. Very shallow. I'm fishing out just to a little island really. This quite a clear spot, and then as you come back a bit you're in weed. So one's tight to the island and one's probably, I don't know, half a rod off the island. So I've got 2 rods on there. One on the creamy milk and one on the Icelandic red snowman, which did most of my bites last time. I'm just fishing boilie on that rod, or in that area. And then at the moment my other rod's in a corner here, just short of some lily pads, again on a clear spot, and that's on the creamy milk over the ground bait. I've not seen any fish since I got here, and yeah, just taking a hunch and coming in here. We'll see what happens. I'll do a bit more of an update tomorrow when I've got more time, because it's 4 o'clock now, it's going to start to get dark soon. So the rods are out anyway, coffee's made, house is set up. It's not going to get below 10 degrees tonight, so at least I don't need my bivvy still. I'm happy to sleep under my umbrella. So we'll see what happens. If I have a fish, obviously I'll add it to the vlog. If not, I'll update the vlog tomorrow, possibly in this swim, possibly in another swim. But yeah, catch up with you in a bit. Right, let's wrap this vlog up then. So what's happened? We had, well, my left-hand rod has done nothing. That's hasn't moved now for 22 hours. Not even one bleep. The middle rod between 10 o'clock and midnight, 5 huge bream, which were a pain in the backside, and they were on that going out to the island. Well, the more the lily pads to the left of the island as I'm looking at it. 5 wraps out on a clear spot, and yeah, 5 big bream off of that spot. Then went to bed. That was, as I say, that was midnight, and before any of that we had a huge, not a storm, but gale force winds. Everything was rustling massively over the back, and throughout the night trees have been falling down. Fortunately there aren't many around me, there's still enough. If one of them had gone, yeah, I wouldn't like to think what would have happened. So yeah, so then we come back to, so I'd gone to bed, and then at 2:30, I don't know how I heard the run really. My right hand alarm, basically, hopefully it's just the battery's gone really low, because all you got was a click, 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 clicking noise, and yeah, I don't know how I knew that was a run or what rod to grab, because there was no lights on. But anyway, got out of bed. I've always got shoes on in the bed, or trainers on in bed, so I can just get out and get straight on the rod. I mean, the rods were pretty locked up anyway, so it'd have been the hanger bouncing up and down, the click, click, clicking noise I could hear. But yeah, leant into the fish, and yeah, took time getting him in. We put the head torch on, and where the water's crystal clear, probably for 5 minutes I could watch this fish swimming up and down, tearing up the margins and that, and ended up with 15 pound 5 mirror in the net. So I didn't set the camera up for that, even though I've got the camera with me this time. I've just done a quick GoPro snap on that, or a little video on the GoPro, as it was only £15. Anything under 20 I tend not to get the camera out. But that's that. And then, as I said originally, this was going to be a 48 hours or 2 nights at least, but with the right hand buzzers now not working or just clicking, and the middle alarm is started to bleep randomly to say that the battery's running low. So I'm going to call it a day, have a slow pack down now, although ironically it's just started to spit with rain. Going to have a slow pack down and yeah, head off home. Not a lot's happened. There hasn't been a lot of fish. Well, there's been no fish showing. Even in the night, I only heard 2 fish crash. And one was a bit further down that way. And one sounded like it was over this side. But as I say, I've not even had a single bleep on that rod that's over there. So who knows? So yeah, that's not it for November. Hopefully I'll get back one more time and then we can wrap up November and lead into December. I think I should probably move into the deeper water now with the temperature dropping, see if we can find some fish out there. But at the end of the day, you know, it's another fish, so I'm not going to complain. So yeah, see you when I'm back out in a couple of weeks' time probably. Well, good morning and welcome back. Going to wrap up November with these last 2 nights. I turned up late yesterday, literally had an hour to get the rods out before dark. So I had planned to drop into one of the 2 swims that I've fished before, and both of them had people in. They were only doing a day, but they were there till sort of 8 in the evening. So I quickly set up in another one of the reed swims a bit further down from where I am now. I've moved this morning just because basically it tells you the wraps to fish out to, so could wrap the rods up to there, flick the rods out, make sure the bottom was clear, and then just put the rods out and fish those spots for the night in the hope that something came along. Nothing did come along. It was a very quiet night, to be honest. Not even a liner, which is the first time I've not had liners on here. As you see, it's still mild. I'm still under my umbrella, which is good for this time of the year. The good thing with that is you just hear every noise at night. So certainly a couple of crashes behind the island where you can't fish. And there were some 3 crashes up in open water up here, but I couldn't see where they were, though I could hear them. And then the ripples would come along later on the water. I couldn't see where they were. So, as I say, nothing happened in the night. I was up early, scanning the water just to see what was going on, see if anything would show. And one fish did show on the end of the reeds here. So I quickly moved up. I'm back in that reeds 2 swim. So fishing 2 of the rods really on the spots. 1 rod on the spot where I had 4 fish from. 1 rod on the spot where I had 1 fish from, which is where the fish showed this morning. And if you remember last time I got breamed out halfway out, but I've put a rod out halfway out. It's a risk, and I'm going to keep feeding pellet onto that spot. I mean, probably a recipe for disaster will bring the bream in. But we'll see. It's, you know, I've got 24 hours now. I've probably got about 20 hours left before I go home, and that'll wrap up November's. But yeah, it'd be nice if we could nick 1 more fish for this month. We're on 5 for November at the moment. So yeah, we'll see what we can do. It's, like I say, I mean, it's a nice clear blue sky. It looks sunny, but actually it's quite cold. I've got my, well, you see, I've got my gloves on. My hands are like ice, and got my top or my leggings over the top of everything. But it's, you know, as I said, it's all right in the night, getting the bivvy, or not in the bivvy, getting the bed. Them sleeping bags are brilliant. You know, another reason for moving up here, that swim I went in yesterday, it's just mud everywhere. I don't think I've ever been, I have been as muddy, but it's a long time since I've been in that sort of mud, and I don't enjoy fishing in mud, so that was another reason for moving. But yeah, I'll update the vlog either with a fish later on or just before I go home to wrap up November, what we did and everything. But yeah, for now that's it. Rods are out, and fingers crossed we can nick a fish or 2. Speak to you soon. Well, good morning. Yeah, welcome back. It's yeah, we had 1 fish last night. Can't remember what time it was now, but yeah, not the usual rods. It was the rod I'd fished. I'm only 5 wraps out. There's a channel there, and there's weed this side of the channel. And probably for the time of year, I'd probably put too much bait in, but I just kept trickling pellet in all day on that spot. I started off with 30 catapults of pellet in the morning, and then just kept trickling pellet in. I was putting some down the bottom here just to see what was happening, even though the water's cold. So I had a little coot all day long, swimming backwards and forwards, and he would dive down on it. and they were still breaking up. Although they looked like a whole pellet, he'd go, I'm in. Well, hopefully I've got some of that on the footage on the GoPro. You would have heard there wasn't many bleeps there. That wasn't a screaming run. It's because that one was against the reeds. And yeah, I'm fishing locked up on those two rods. I think I've said before, that's when I go to bed locked up, I've got trainers on my feet so I can get out that quick to them. So yeah, I'll wrap up the rest and then finish up with what that turned out to be. So I think I was saying the fish that came in the night, 21.7, was in the middle channel, only 5 wraps out, and you're fishing 4.5 foot of water. You're just beyond a weed bed, and I'd introduced throughout the day probably 6 kilos of pellet every hour, going out another 20 catapults full. Thought I may end up with bream, to be honest, and then last night at about, sometime between 7 and 8 had that fish. I don't know what the photos are like, I haven't checked. Again, I always say it because I'm on my own, they're all self-takes, so it may be I just nick something off the GoPro later on because I put the GoPro out. But that was 21.7 and a very quiet night, nothing boshing, nothing doing anything. what I did do whenever I woke up at night, I was just pinging out 20mm boilies out to my spot over there, albeit it was pitch black last night, but I could see the tree line roughly, and now I'd been in the day putting baits actually beyond the reeds into them to try and tempt any fish that are out there out. So anyway, and then as you've seen, I'm doing the vlog this morning, and off it's gone, and hopefully now I'm going to slip in some footage and photographs of the fish. And yeah, that's my biggest fish out, albeit I've only been fishing the lake for a month, but that's the biggest fish this month. So that was 28.6, so 21.7 last night, 28.6 this morning, so over the moon with that. I thought it was a 30 when I was looking in the net. I thought I had a 30 in the net, but yeah, 28.6, we'll take that all day long. So yeah, so this wraps up November. I've got to say, it's, you know, I'm sure December is going to be a lot harder. January, February probably non-existent other than pike maybe. But yeah, we've ended up with 8 fish in a month, 3 14s, I think it's either a 17 or a 19, a 21, or 2 21s, a 25 and a 28. So mate, that's good fishing. I'm happy now. I'm packing up, I'm going home, probably an hour later than I said I would. 2 rods are still out, but I'm packing up. That's it for now. See you on the bank in December.